Good morning, everyone. I'm so thankful that God uses relatable people to connect us to his story. When I think about all the apostles and those that God called to further the gospel, I think about the characters that were there. I think about Peter, and who can't relate to someone like Peter, a guy who was always putting his foot in his mouth and saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, or maybe thinking he had courage when he didn't. But then there's people like Andrew, who were really kind of back in the background, a little bit less extroverted, maybe more of an introvert, but still successful in bringing people to Jesus. And then there's guys that we studied like yesterday with Thomas, and he gets a bum rap, I think. We call him Doubting Thomas. And there's only 3 opportunities for us to really gain any more insight into who he was outside of historical documentation. And those are in John chapter 11, John chapter 14, and then John chapter 21. Where we see him interacting with other people. The first time is this. Jesus has been healing and doing all kinds of great things. The people do not like it. They're trying to kill him. Jesus escapes out of the city, and he hears that Lazarus has died, and so he's ready to go back into the city. And his disciples are saying, hey, it's just too soon. They're ready to kill you. You don't need to go. But it was Thomas who stepped forward and said, let us go with him that we may die with him. That didn't sound like a guy who is doubting Thomas, right? It doesn't sound like a person who doesn't have faith in Jesus. It sounds like a person who has the courage to go and die with Jesus. But then in John chapter 14, Jesus is talking to his followers and he's saying, hey, my time is coming. The end of my life is drawing near. I'm going to be put to death on the cross, and they're having a hard time with it. So he says to them in John chapter 14, verses 1-4, and we've heard this before, but let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places, and if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I come again, I'll receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And it was in that moment that Tom's like, whoa, I need clarification. How do we know the way to go to get to you? And Jesus says this, well, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So Jesus gave him the clarification that he needed. He just wanted to be right. And then, of course, the scene there, after Jesus has risen from the dead, he's appeared to the apostles once already. About a week later, he shows up again in the room where Thomas is. And Thomas has declared, I will not believe unless I see the tangible evidence. And Jesus shows him his hands and his side. And Thomas is moved. It says he just cries out, my Lord and my God. Doesn't sound like a guy who's struggling in his faith. Sounds like a person who just needed the proof. So I'm thankful for people like Thomas, because I'm that way too. I want proof. The Bible goes on to tell us that there were all kinds of witnesses of Jesus' resurrection. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15 alone, it says there were well over 500 people who saw him. I'm thankful for those evidences. But Jesus takes Thomas's small faith and asks him to increase it a little bit more, because he says to him, is it because you see me now that you believe? Well, how blessed are the people going to be that don't see me and believe in me? And so I'll take us to 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 3-9. And you're going to see in there just how important it is that Jesus died, he was buried, he was raised up. And it says something to the effect of this, and even though you have not seen him, you believe with him, and you have as a result of that this inexpressible joy, and you will receive as the outcome of your faith the salvation of your souls. So God is calling all of us, though we want that tangible proof, and though that tangible proof is there, and I'm thankful for it, God calls us to believe from the heart, and through that we will gain a couple of things. One, we'll know the evidence is there, we'll get a sense of peace about us, and then finally it'll call us to action. And speaking of action, I want us this week to read Acts chapter 1. I think that'll be great leading up to Andrew's final lesson as we wrap up this Altered series. But also, I want you to take some time to pray this week. Just thank God for the proof that he has given us that Jesus came, he died, he was buried, and he was resurrected. And because he conquered the grave, we can do the same as well. The resurrection changed everything, and I hope you've enjoyed this series as much as we have, and I hope you have a great week. We can't wait to see you again on Sunday. Love you guys. Have a great week.